Hi, I'm Patrick.
And I'm Liv.
And this is the Mach-E vlog, and today we're going to have fun checking out this Kia EV6 GT.
So let's go. I have at times mentioned that I really like the way this car looks. Now that was before the Genesis GV60 appeared. Obviously these two vehicles share the same platform, the eGMP platform, but this, I don't know, next to the Mach-E, I really love the way that this vehicle looks. It's super sporty. This is actually in runway red. I don't know, that's a weird name. I'm not sure, well, is that like a plane thing? I don't know.
I don't know.
But anyways, runway red, it is very snazzy. The only difference between this and the non-GT is a little bit on the front here. But another way that you can see that this is a GT is these neon green brake calipers. And that neon green color is echoed multiple times on the interior, both in the textiles and in the display, which is really cool. Though we both, Patrick and I, have discussed that neon green feels like a weird thing to think of for GT. Like it feels more of eco, I don't know. But this is how you know that this is GT. Let's check out the entire look of this vehicle. The handles are sticking out right now, so we're able to grab them. But when the car is rolling or locked, which
I'll lock it real quick.
Patrick's about to do, they do pull in. That does not happen while you're driving. You still have your mirrors, but it's very aerodynamic. And there's a little indentation here, which is the same shape basically as the handle that you can press.
Oh, because I locked it
Because you locked it. So
yeah.
Then that allows you to open it. You guys, let us know what you think of these handles. I come and go. The Rivian has this kind of handles, but they're a little beefier. The Kia, the Hyundai, the Genesis too, I think, all have these kind of handles.
I think so. I forget about the Genesis now.
Yeah, and it's a thing. It's a thing. I don't know. Let us know what you think of that.
It is easy to do with like one hand.
It's very easy to do with one hand, and it does stick up by itself. These don't feel as beefy as the Rivian, but it's a thing now. I love that they pull away though, and they make it look super sleek when you're driving. And that is a great word to describe this vehicle. It's sleek. Look at it. Look at this rear. Look at all the lines and look at all the angles of it. It's a really, really gorgeous vehicle. And if you come close to here, you can see some design style, some I don't know what we call this, embellishment, I guess. And it actually feels the diamonds. Yeah. So looking at the rear of the vehicle, everything is just so sleek.
And the dual spoilers basically with the lower and then the upper.
And when you see this lit up at night, you recognize an EV6, right? This is an incredibly recognizable vehicle, and it's really cool. And I wish that they would keep this aesthetic and the style in other vehicles in the Kia lineup, because I think it looks really cool and unique. I almost walked away, but since I'm here, we should obviously look at the charge port, and it is really subtle. It's right here. Ta-da! I love that that is automatic. It's something that I wish we had in the Mach-E. This is super sweet. Obviously, you have your DC fast charging under here. And we'll pop that back in quickly and then close it up. Something important to mention, obviously, about this vehicle is that it is on an 800 volt charging system. So you have super fast charging. That is a big difference with the Mach-E, but we'll get inside the car and we'll talk about some of those changes too, or some of those differences. Let's check out the trunk while we're here.
If you can find the button.
Yeah, I know. It's really not a notable button. I'm not sure if you can see that, but the button is really small. Some vehicles have a much squishier button, and that one's really subtle. So there's not a huge amount of space in here. You obviously have your rear storage, and we have quite a lot of stuff in there. We fit some sodas in there, which is kind of cool. But I really enjoy this feature that you can pull the cover out and then it slots in there. Patrick was saying he doesn't love it because obviously when we're done with the cover and we want it out of the way, then it's in the way, right?
Well,
and the bar.
So if you want to put both seats down and store like some boxes or stuff in there, go get your plants or whatever, then you got to like remove the bar, and then where do you stick the bar? But you know,
yeah.
But then again, the one in the Mach-E is just this little flimsy piece of cloth. So
Yeah, it's a toughie. The Mach-E one is a little bit cumbersome. I think that if you don't think that you're going to be dropping your seats that often, then this is much more useful. Although, of course, you primarily would use this to shield that you have anything in the trunk. Or to protect things from the sun, I guess. But it's certainly not as spacious as the Mach-E.
And most of that's just this part here, because there's not as much like height because it swoops down a little bit more. It seems like it's, you know, about the same lengthwise maybe, but I think that's where we lose a little bit, is like over here.
Yeah.
I'll let you point because I can't point and film.
It's just here. But why don't we check out how the space is in the rear seats?
All right, let's close this and we'll do that.
We should probably do it from this side because it is actually bright and you can see us. But I always have my seat pushed very far backwards. I am the passenger in this vehicle.
The front seat, so you can see the
front
difference.
Seat. You can see there's it's really pushed far, probably for a like 6.5 foot person. What is my problem? But there is okay room. There's okay room. These are definitely performance seats. They are quite low down. You don't have much foot room underneath them. They're very comfortable in the front, which we'll talk about in a minute. But it is not super spacious with the way I have it now.
And how's the headroom though? Because it swoops down.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right. I'm 5'5", just so you know. My hair is probably 5'8". So it's not too bad. One great thing to point out, of course, is that there are vents back here. So this is a really big deal if you have pets or kids, or you actually care about the air quality for your passengers. So
no
that's
vents in
a really
the middle,
nice
but
thing.
they do have USB charging in the middle.
Yeah. And the rear seats are really comfortable. As you can see, if you you can see right here, we have that neon lime
We'll talk
green.
about that in the front because there's a lot of that.
Yeah, there's a lot more of that, but that's echoed on the outside. Let's get in the front.
I will. So, first of all, I'm going to hop in, but one of the things that I like, I love the seats sitting in them, but hopping in, it's sort of like they really are a little bit of a bucket seat, so it can be a little bit hard to get in. And the other thing to note before I get started is Liv was telling me she was ready to record and I was on the outside. And apparently there's some good sound protection because I was having trouble hearing you on the outside.
And speaking of which, let me close my door.
Get a little bit quieter.
There we go.
But yeah, you can see a lot of the trim here on the steering wheel. It's that neon green as well. I really like neon green and black. So on the interior, I think it looks fantastic. The neon green with the red looks a bit odd. So if I spec'd out one, I would probably do like a dark gray or black. I'm not sure of their color ranges on this car. The red and the green is a little bit odd to me. But actually, to be honest, it does look better in person than in the photos and videos. So if you don't think it looks great in the video, it does look better in person. There is also the GT button here is in neon green. So the steering wheel is actually, I really like it a lot. It feels very nice. We got like the stitching up here, so it's a little bit grippier. And then down here, there's really no notable stitching, but you have all of your controls here, you know, somewhat normal. But in addition, you have your drive mode, so you can switch from eco to normal to sport. And then the extra GT mode is over here on the right. And of course, it's sort of like that's adjusting like your efficiency and steering, pedal mapping, those type of things by changing drive mode. And then the GT mode takes away some of the traction control, so you can have a little bit more fun with the car. I've been driving around mostly in sport mode. It just feels right. And also, you know, this is a very, very fast car, so we're having some fun with that. It does have paddle behind to control the level of regen. And what I do is like I love having just the iPedal on, so I usually always have it maxed out. But there's the paddles. This one does less, and the one on my left side does more. I like it to, you know, be in sport mode with the increased one pedal, you know, regen. It does not stick unless you have the app, apparently. So we don't have the app. We're just, this is a loaner car that we have for 4 days. So every time I get in, I have to like set that back up again. But I do understand that like that's something that changes once you have the app and you're like fully registered in the car. I want to turn it on, mostly just to show you some of the features. I'm just going to beep for a minute. Some things that I like and I don't like. We can't do CarPlay because our phone is recording right now. But I do love this screen here. Let me do climate control, turn it down.
Well, I know this is something that you haven't loved.
I haven't loved this. Okay, I'll get into this right now. So this is like, you can get used to it, but it can be quite an annoyance. So as you can see right now, here's all of my like, climate control settings. So then, I want to turn the stereo down. Oh, no, I'm changing the temperature. So no, now I got to hit over here, and now I can control my volume. So basically those two buttons there change what the overall functionality is, and that includes like my volume button. It's literally labeled volume and power, but then when I hit the AC mode or climate control mode, then it's just power, and that's the power. It's not even power, it's actually the temperature control on this side, but I can turn the climate control off, which is probably good because we're trying to record right now. So anyways, that's a bit of annoyance. Otherwise, I would like this. Like if they just had two rows, that would be fantastic. You do have like your heated seat controls right there. Very easy to quickly turn those on. I like that, except for a couple of times, like when I was trying to, on a bouncy road, use that to rest my hand. I would accidentally hit those. A little bit of a downside with that. The screens, I think, are adequately sized. I do prefer the bigger vertical screen in the Mach-E, because then basically it may be just me, but like if I have a map and it's oriented in a vertical fashion, I can see my car and what's coming ahead in the streets. But this one, it's like my car is here, there's not much vertical there. So let's see, let me go back over here. We'll hit nav, our map. And you can see, this is what I was talking about. There's not like much view ahead of us of what we're going to go see with the car. Otherwise, everything is, pretty well laid out. You can go into like some of your different settings, see like your efficiency, has other information. Of course, you can go into like your phone, set some of your climate control stuff here. There we go. So there, it's basically fairly decent software. The one thing I don't like is the navigation system. It does not do EV route planning right now. It can help you find EV chargers, but it doesn't do route planning. So like I can find that there's chargers around here, which I need to charge at some point. We'll get to that in a minute. But it's, otherwise it's fairly nice. It does have phone projection. If you don't know what that term means, it's basically Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. Normally we would have our CarPlay running, and that takes care of a lot of things, our music, contacts, contacting people, messaging, all of that. But overall, I really like the software. It's pretty decent. Over on the left, this is what I really, really like. I love this display. There's a ton of options. I won't cycle through all of them. I mean, it's a simple thing. Like I can do, there's my attention level. I can switch. It shows like what the car is doing. Like if I was in traffic, it would show like if there's anybody to my left or right. Efficiency on this drive since the last time I charged, 144 miles, and I'm down to 24% battery. So basically right about 200 miles of range. And accumulated info like so far since the trip has been reset, So basically just like lots of fairly decent info, tire pressure, all of that's all right there. And then as I'm driving, there's like more information as well, like, how much power I'm using versus how much regen, and it's showing me like my current efficiency. So right now it's like none because we're stopped and we have the car on, but it'll show like, instantaneously like what my efficiency is at. Battery level, of course, down here, and then it has like indicators for the driver's assistance. Now, it does have clear indicators for what driver's assistance functions I'm in, but I do prefer like the one in the Mach-E because it's like a big display, and you can sort of very clearly see. And then like when it's in Blue Cruise hands-free mode, the whole display shifts to a different shade of blue. It's very, very clear of what it's doing. So, and the same thing with like the lane centering. It's very clear to see in the Mach-E, not as clear on this one. But I do have to say, one of the cool things is that this one has the, there we go, heads-up display. So we're doing 0 miles an hour. There's no speed limit sign. But as there's more information to display, it'll show that. So like if I have cruise control on, it lets me know if it detects a car ahead of me. And if I have navigation on, it shows like, you know, if there's the next turn. Mach-E doesn't have a heads-up display. I'm not usually a fan of heads-up displays, but lately I think they're getting better and better, and I like this one. Oh, we just lost it. It went too far out. But anyways, this one seems fairly good. I like this one, and something I'm getting more and more used to is having a heads-up display. But overall, this is a very comfortable place to be. We haven't even talked about the seats, so I'll see if we can show these. Very much like a very comfortable bucket seat. You very much, you know, held in place. Now, I do have to say, I'm not a big person, and it's really holding me in. I don't know how much bigger you could get and be comfortable in this. So definitely want to test drive and see like if it feels comfortable to you. One thing to note though is these are manually controlled seats. So for a GT sort of, you know, more top of the line vehicle, I'm sort of surprised that there aren't electronic controls for the driver, especially because like for me, I have sort of like my comfortable position where I'm just cruising along. But if I want to get into like GT mode and go up a canyon or something like that, I might want to get a little bit closer, get really into the controls. But I can't do that on the fly without having electronic controls. The center console is interesting, I think, because it's almost like a pier, because it sticks out way down here, but then there's this sort of odd gap here. To me, it's like, that's just wasted space. I'd rather just have it connected and then maybe shift things around a little bit, or you could have this extra bar of buttons. That would be nice. But otherwise, it's not bad. Has a wireless charging pad, but CarPlay and Android Auto are not wireless. You actually have to plug into one of the USB ports down below if you want to use CarPlay or Android Auto. It has a dial shifter that's similar to what's in the Mach-E. I do like that there is a physical camera button, and the camera is really high res, or decently high res, so I like that. And you can, one of my favorite features, the Mach-E doesn't have this, and this is so cool to play around with. When you're trying to parallel park and you're not used to the car like this, it says it's a loaner. It was like nice to be able to like switch around and look and see exactly where we're at. But basically the biggest thing is I like having the manual quick to access parking button right there.
I do want to add, it's really cool seeing automakers do these very non-traditional things here. Obviously, we have the entire floor at our disposal. You cannot see that because of the light in this vehicle. So let's see. There you go. So we have the whole floor at our disposal. We have a big chunk of space there. So purse.
Really good storage.
That'll fit really well there. Actually, a really large bag even could fit their briefcase almost. And then you have this whole space on either side. So if you're a driver who doesn't want to feel squished in or claustrophobic in the leg region, you have a lot of room here. And I personally, because I drive with my left leg, I like to push my leg out like that. Exactly, Patrick. So there's quite a lot of room.
Don't try this at home.
Definitely don't. Or do in a parking lot. There's quite a lot of room, so that's really nice. I don't know why. This is just me, but I've bumped my knee on this a lot. And you bumped your knee.
I keep on hitting it on this, and it's because I'm trying to get into
the bucket seat.
The bucket seat, and I keep on hitting that.
So this might just be us. I think it might just be us. But yeah, there's really a ton of room, and I'm quite chuffed to see how much space there is for a bag there. Because, you know, sometimes you don't want to just dump your purse on the seat next to you. You want to put it somewhere where it's not going to roll around. Really, really cool. Also, wow, it's really bright here. There we go. So this glove box, I like seeing how easy these are to open. This one's quite a press, so You press it and then it opens by
But
itself.
it's a huge glove box.
It really is. But yeah, it's quite a press to get it out. And then you have 2 storage compartments, which is really nice.
So up here in the roof, it doesn't have a full glass roof, but I just noticed this. You just tap the light. Like, I'm not even tap it, just touch it and the light comes on. But we do have a sunroof, sort of more of like the traditional, so you can just go back with just the shade, or to open up. We're not going to, that's actually not too much light. Feels very nice. It's noisy out there, but very comfortable. So I do like having a cover for these. In the Mach-E, the glass roof, it's never been really much of an issue, but I think it's because it's so well tinted. But if you don't have a well tinted sunroof or glass roof, it's really nice having the cover. So I'm glad that they have that.
Aesthetically, the interior of this car is as sleek and pretty as the exterior. It really is. I enjoy this cabin so much. It's very tilted towards the driver. So as the passenger, you just gotta chill here. Perhaps you can see that the screen is quite tilted towards the driver. So for me, even the controls down here are tilted towards the driver. And sorry, when I say down here, I mean the climate controls and the navigation controls. So this is actually tilted towards the driver. But if we look at these aesthetics here, this is ambient lighting. You can see these lines, which are also in the surface. It feels really lovely. And this whole decoration here is also present in the console. I know I'm making Patrick move all around the cabin, but it's present on the surface of the console, and it's the design on the charging mat and on the rubber mats, everything like that. So it's very, very consistent. It's very sleek. It's just got a real clean style, and I don't think it's as loud as the Mach-E necessarily. Like the Mach-E is a little like, Paka! This is like a little more elegant, maybe.
It feels very techy, a very techy interior. So and it's an aesthetic I very much like. Like I could see like this aesthetic being adopted by a gamer.
Ooh, yeah, you'll have to let us know what you think about it. But the ambient lighting in this car is on point. It looks really good. And something I want to point out, which I particularly love in every vehicle, is manual vents. Such a big deal. And really cool to have a click when it's closed. So just these tangible things that make the ergonomics of doing something when you're not looking very simple. You got like tangible responses, you got sound, and this is just really easy to do while you're driving and not looking. You don't have to do it on a screen or anything like that. Awesome. So this is my first time actually behind the wheel of this vehicle, and I don't feel safe or comfortable driving this left-legged. Now, I actually like the pedal feel, like the way that I coast there. I just pulled off the accelerator. Feels really nice. The brake doesn't feel too harsh, like I can brake without shocking us. For a performance vehicle, I'm actually kind of surprised. I thought that was going to be a bit more jarring. But the way that the floor of this vehicle and the seat are tilted, I cannot safely get my left leg and actually reach the brake and the accelerator. Like, I don't know if you can see any of this, but I'm almost hitting the top of the steering wheel here, the steering column, and the bucket seat it's not right. This is not a left leg driving vehicle, and I hate to say that because I actually really do enjoy the pedal feel. And I hope that makes sense, that the pedal feel is good, but the tilt and everything of the seating and the floor and all that is just not for a left leg driver. I know this is a really niche
Super
thing.
rare.
Yeah, it's super rare and super niche. As far as the vehicle, I wish that there was more that you could do to customize the seating. I don't enjoy sitting this low, and the seat is as far forward, it's as far tilted, the back, as it can go, and I'm as far forward as my legs can handle. But I would like to tilt the seat up a little bit. I would like to go back a little bit and then have the back of the seat tilted forwards. And none of that can you really do with the kind of simplistic manual controls that you have here, as opposed to the cool electric controls that we're used to, where you can get like 6-way customization of your
8-way.
seating. 8-way?
Yeah, a lot are 8-way.
Oh, if you have the lumbar as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
So this is something that we do often because my situation is so weird, is that we'll get me to a parking lot and I'll try out a vehicle and see if I'm going to be able to take it on the road. And like literally the moment that I got behind the wheel, I'm like, no, oh no, absolutely not, because I cannot safely get between the brake and the accelerator. Now, as far as everything else, I think it's a lovely vehicle. I think it's a really lovely vehicle, but it is made for someone like Patrick, someone who really loves driving, and we're going to talk about that next.
Yeah, I think we may drive tomorrow, so we'll just cut to that in the video, and that's so that we can get some state of charge and the sun won't be glaring in our eyes as we're trying to film.
What are you doing? What are you doing? I was just sitting in the car by myself. What? This is really creepy. I did not know this could do this. We're parking. Oh God, that is jerky. Oh my God, he's locked out of the car. Hi. No, gosh. Oh my gosh, that is so weird. Okay, bye. I should just jump in the... Oh, he's really enjoying that. Oh, okay. That's why you told me to get in the car and sit down. I thought it was because I looked tired.
Yeah, I was just figuring you'd relax.
That was very unexpected. I did not know that this could do that.
Yeah, they say it's a party trick, and I sort of agree, except for, like, we just had a case where we stopped at 7-Eleven to get something to drink, go to the bathroom.
In the handicap parking.
We stopped at a handicap parking, which usually gives Liv room to get in and out, but we came back and there was somebody parked really close. Now, granted, I could just hop in and back the car out, but there are those cases where somebody boxes you in on both sides, and that's what that is for. So, like, if you have trouble getting out, or like if Liv were driving this and somebody gets really close to this side, like, it's easy for us to maneuver, but with her prosthetic, it's very hard for her to get in and out. This could be like a super useful feature that it's been called many times a party trick, but there are some times when it would be very, very useful. And I thought it was neat, and I thought it would be neat to surprise Liv. So. But I didn't know if it would work. It took me a while. So there's actually, I'll see if we can show you that. There's 3 buttons here. You have to hit hold, and that turns the car on. Once the car is on, then you can do move forward or reverse. And as soon as you let go, you could tell it like comes to like a sort of a sudden little stop. It's only moving at like 2 miles an hour.
Sort of?
Did it?
Yeah, it's okay. Let's switch.
Can I do it?
Shall we switch?
Oh, no, I've already done it. Okay. So, yeah, I'll roll the window. Well, no. Okay, let's try it.
Yeah, we're going to switch.
It.
Yep. Okay, just so by the way, so it's not a park assist. It's literally forward and backwards.
It says park forward, park back, but you're not supposed to use it on a road or anything like that. And obviously, it's only moving very, very slowly.
And is there any kind of, like, if there's an obstruction, will it alert?
No, you have to hold the button. So you're responsible 100%.
It's your fault.
Yep.
All right. It's your turn.
Yep, now it came on. Just had to give it a few seconds. Ready to drive. It gives you the instructions in here. And now she's driving me. Oh wow. Yeah, that is an abrupt stop. That's abrupt. She's enjoying this though. I can hear her laughing. This is pretty neat though. Oh, it does have the parking sensor. So I guess it will not like crash into something if you're still holding it. I'm not sure we're going to test it because it's a loaner car. Oh no. Stop. Oh, that is so neat and weird. And it has the emergency flashers. Oh yeah, and there it is. It's setting off because she walked close, so the parking sensors are going. But okay. Now she's going to get in. So the parking sensors do go off.
Oh, cool.
So it would have, I don't think it'll let you bang into anything.
Did it notice that I was in front of it?
Not when you were standing like way out in front, but then when you like walked around by the corner, it started going off.
Awesome. That was really fun. And it is actually intuitive to use. Like you have to activate it very definitively, and it's not something that's necessarily going to activate by itself.
The first turning it on, because I actually stopped and then started recording because I was like, okay, I was going to tell you to like.
I just made sure to give it another lock, and then it's like I'm definitely locked. Okay, now I'm starting.
Cool.
So yeah, I think that's a fun party trick. Like I actually really like.
It's a party trick, but like I said, don't discount it. It could be useful in certain situations.
For sure.
All right.
Pretty psyched to be charging an 800-volt vehicle here.
This is a 350 station, so we should be able. The battery, I mean, it's been sitting out overnight. We've driven around just a little bit this morning, but hopefully this will keep on increasing. It's at 128 now.
128.
Still, we've only been charging 3 minutes. Hopefully it just keeps on creeping up. But this goes back to something that I've said is like, it's really great to have the 800-volt systems. If you hit it right, they're super fast, 10 to 80 in about 18 minutes, which is twice as fast as the Mach-E. But you have to find a charger. There's very few like 350 kilowatt chargers here in the Denver metro. On road trips, you know, we'll use EA. There's usually one 350. They're upgrading, so there's like at least 3 350s at each station. So that's an improvement. But you also have, the car has to be good and ready for the charge, and it's actually
already dropping. It's
down
114.
Yeah. So you really do, like, and of course on a road trip, you're probably getting some pretty good battery conditions to do the charge. We didn't precondition or anything, which this car doesn't do preconditioning based on your EV route planning navigation, because it doesn't do EV route planning. There is some preconditioning that I came to the Ioniq 5. If it's not on EV6 now, I'm sure it will be soon, but it's like a manual button, I believe. So it's sort of like, it's great that it can charge that fast, but you just got to get the right conditions to do that. I do like on the screen in there, we'll try to show some of that it does show the kilowatts that's getting into the battery on the driver's screen. So that's really cool.
All right, let's get a little update. Boop. 131 kilowatts. We've been here for 13 minutes. And we've gained 29.9 kilowatt hours, 64% state of charge. You know, it feels pretty fast. 13 minutes is not that much time, so didn't see crazy speeds. I thought we might see higher, but consistently good, though. We're not seeing anything under 100 so far, and we've been going for a while, so that's pretty awesome. I can't wait to see what happens at 80. I think we definitely have to stay that long.
So a couple of things to note. One thing, we're getting above 72% and it's still charging at 130 some kilowatts. So I really like that. But I love, that it showed that there was the kilowatts going to the battery on the screen. But we're 75% is showing it's charging at 135 kilowatts. It says it'll be to 80% in 2 minutes. And I'm going to actually see what happens at 80%, see how much does it, slow down. In the Mach-E, it slows down a decent amount, usually down to about 43 kilowatts. So we'll see what this one does. But at this point, the Mach-E is usually doing about 79, 80 kilowatts when it's getting closer to 80%. So I love that this is, was just at 130, now it's in the 120s. We did a 10 to 80 in the Mach-E. I forgot what we started at. I think we were at 20%. But anyways, we did 10 to 80 in a Mach-E just a couple of weeks ago on a 150 kilowatt charger, and it took 44 minutes to go 10 to 80. This one is, can do a lot faster under the right conditions, which is really exciting. So let's see what happens. I'm just sort of talking to see.
Well, and it's interesting because, so if you're interested in our 10 to 80, that was in basically the longest range Mach-E. We were in the California Route 1. So it's about 312 miles of range.
Yeah, 312 miles range on that one, which is 106 miles more than this one.
Isn't that insane? So there we go. We hit 80. We're at 97 kilowatts. 96.
Yeah, that's really cool and really impressive.
Ooh.
That even above 80%, it's still pulling close to 100. Really like that. That's the advantage of having the 800 volt system, which is really cool.
That is really nice. And it's dropping slowly.
Slowly,
There's no plummet.
I'm sure either Tom Malogny or Kyle Connor have a complete charging curve on this, so we're not going to do that. I think that might be all we need to do for now.
Let's go. Okay, so we haven't filmed while you've driven on the highway yet. This is much bumpier without MagneRide.
Yeah.
Because I'm filming. It's not something that you notice just typically. You're
Well,
not like, ooh, it's a rough ride. But when you're trying to hold it steady while you're filming.
It is a firm ride.
Yeah, but I'm not like, ooh, firm. I'm like, ooh, okay. I feel what you're rolling with.
The power is just fantastic. I love, like, it's addictive to just be able to zip in and pop into where you want. It has fantastic power. I'm in sport mode. The only mode that it's not that powerful is, of course, eco mode, but normal mode is fairly powerful. And of course, GT mode, which I can switch to, and it remaps the pedal and feel a little bit, turns also into traction control, but it still just feels very fast. And it might be hard to capture this, but I think it's a little bit more rear motor biased in GT mode, just based off of the little graph that I can see here. And I'm switching to drive modes now. There's eco, feels like it's sluggish there, but only because I'm switching from sport. There's normal, all of a sudden a little boost, sport, even more boost. I like shifting between the drive modes here on the steering wheel versus like having to do the touchscreen. Sort of a really cool feature to have that really close at hand. And I love the little power graph showing like what power is going to what wheels. I'm not going to do an extensive thing on their adaptive intelligent cruise control, but I can turn it on and it's now steering. Now it's doing the complete package where it's, you know, maintaining the center of the lane, it's maintaining the speed, maintaining following distance. Like that car just moved out of the way, so we'll speed up a bit. It's, you know, it's good. Like I haven't done an extensive test. Feels like we're wobbling a little bit there. But feels pretty, you know, like standard systems. A lot of systems, you know, contradictory to the hype that's out there for doing this type of driving, a lot of systems do fairly well, including this one. So I like it. But I want to turn that off because that's not what we're here for. There we go, completely off. But yeah, it's really nice. Like right now, I don't need to, but if I needed to get over here.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh.
And it goes up just so quick. Acceleration on like all EVs is really nice. 0 to 60. This one is really good. Low 3 seconds. So that's fantastic. But what I really like about this one is like it really pulls well, doing that like 65 plus to get around somebody or whatever. So I really like it. This car reminds me a lot of like if they took my old Subaru WRX and made it into an EV. It has the very supportive seats. It's very sporty driving. Suspension's firm, which is a lot of fun. Maybe a bit too firm for like a long road trip. Might get a bit tiresome. Same thing with the seats. Like they're holding you so tight. Maybe on a long road trip, not my favorite. But for, you know, most fun driving experience, you know, this is like top notch. I really like it. Very good sporty drive. The pedal mapping, Liv and I were talking about this yesterday after she drove it a bit. Very good pedal mapping in the different modes. It feels responsive, but not super touchy. And like the Mach-E, especially when it was new, is super touchy on the accelerator and the brake. This is responsive, but it doesn't feel like touchy,
yeah.
Which is a huge difference. The suspension, the handling feels very well tuned in this for what you expect. Like the suspension handles like the car looks. Like it's just always ready and sporty. I really like, you know, for the fact that it doesn't have like Magna Ride, which is, you know, one of the big improvements on the GT Performance Edition, the suspension on this is really, really nice. Again, it's a bit firm, but so like going over something like a speed bump or pothole in like the premium Mach-E can feel a bit bouncy. The GT feels very similar to this of the Mach-E. Both of those are pretty firm. I like the Magna Ride because it adapts quite a bit more, and you have the actually adjustable suspension with the different drive modes, but it's also adjusting as you drive and handling things well. But if you like a firm suspension, which I think if you're going for a GT model, that's probably something that you do like, this is great. The one pedal regen braking, I like that it very noticeable difference between the different drive modes, as well as you can, you know, I set it up to as much as I can get, and I love that feeling. But I think it's overall really nice. And then of course you can turn it off. Liv prefers to have it off, and it does well, you know, obviously just being able to coast mode. I wish that they still got the $7,500 tax credit. And of course the big elephant in the room, the reason why personally I don't think we would buy this, the range isn't good enough for us. But if that's not a concern for you, then 100% this is a great option to consider. Definitely try to test drive one. And if you've driven the regular EV6 and going like, okay, well, this is just the GT version, this does feel quite a bit different. The seats, the suspension, and the power is significantly different than the regular EV6.
Like, oh, by the way, when I was driving this, I said that I wanted the seat to go up more. I meant up like that, and then Patrick mentioned I could do that. Even if
it's manual, so you have to like
pump it up,
crank it up.
So even if it was pumped up, this is still not a suitable car for me with my cross-leg driving, whatever. But when you say that this reminds you of your WRX, it's interesting because even as a passenger, it reminds me of it too. And I feel like there's probably a bunch of people who would really love this vehicle because of that, because this is a very spirited drive. Like, you get in it and it immediately feels like this is meant to be played with, and it's for someone who likes to drive. And I could see driving around the city, and sure, you plug in every night, whatever, but then going on the weekend, like we used to do in your WRX, we'd like go for a nice drive on the weekend or whatever, and then you get to let it rip, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's definitely like, anytime you get in this, it feels like it's time to go play and have some fun.
All right, we flippity-flipped the camera around. By the way, just in time to hit a traffic light, let us know when you like something or when you don't like something in the way that we film things, because we always want to try new things. So this is us trying a new thing. We got a whole new setup. So I'm actually watching us on my watch.
Yeah.
Can you see that?
And we're recording with the iPhone instead of GoPro, which we normally do. And part of that is because we are on a dual purpose trip and tried not to bring so much filming gear.
Yeah.
But this is a little 2-lane road. I don't think it's that curvy, but you know, here we are taking a corner.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Thank you bolstering. Thank you bolstering.
We're going to behave for the most part, but we'll go back down here. And I haven't tried this yet, but let me try the lane centering and cruise control on this type of road. And yeah, it's able to be turned on basically just like with the Mach-E and a lot of other systems. If it detects lines, you can turn it on. So we're detecting lines, it's working. There's a nice little dog park over there. Sorry, you guys can't see that.
That is the road. It's pretty clear. It's really quiet. It's an equestrian center. So it's definitely a clear road, but not mapped, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I just turned it off, the lane centering and stuff. I just want to drive.
All right, let's flip this around quick. Okay. Oh, no. Ah. Oh, my goodness.
Data gets us really quick in speed.
Oh, my gosh. If you like driving.
If you like driving, this is a very fun car for you.
Yeah, you will very much enjoy this car. As I keep checking us, like, it looks nice. That's why we're trying having it on my watch and doing this camera because you have image stabilization. So hope you guys don't feel sick. By the way, some people feel sick in cars. We are not prone to motion sickness, so I'd love to hear if you guys feel sick in a certain car or not, because some people have mentioned that. To me, this feels very well balanced.
So this goes back to, and I was sort of trying to, like, we don't want to go on too long. I know you guys probably have watched other videos, so we're trying to give you our perspective on some of the things about this car and comparing it to like the Mach-E. And like, of course, people might go like, well, would you have bought this one? It's cheaper than the Mach-E GT Performance Edition, but I think the range would have been an eliminating factor. Even though it's cheaper, it doesn't get the tax credit, which makes up a lot of that price difference. But I could see, like I've talked about, like the Model 3 would have been a great replacement for my WRX because it's a sedan going to a sedan, because I had the sedan version of the WRX. And this is sort of like a decent compromise for somebody that still wants like a more sedan, like not a huge car. It doesn't feel as big as the Mach-E, and part of that is like it doesn't have the long front end. So,
and the nose dips off.
Yeah. This would have been in serious contention. I for us, like the Mach-E is our road trip car.
Yeah.
So the range being low would be an eliminating factor. If you're not going to take it on road trips, or you're in an area where your road trips are fairly decently covered, then this is a pretty fantastic option.
I think that if this was on the market when you were looking for a replacement specifically for your WRX, and if you test drove this, I think this would have felt so playfully comparable in the, like, you can drive around the city, but you can also take it for a spirited drive, that I think you might have gotten this or might have wanted this. Yeah. But it really makes me want to spend some more time in the Kia EV6 by itself, regular. Yeah, I would really like to spend some time in that because I like a lot about this car, and I really, really like the pedal mapping, but I don't like the parts of it that are more performance oriented. So I would like to see what the experience is like if you take that away. So if you're like Patrick, this is probably your car.
Yeah.
And if you're like me, well, hopefully let us know, should we spend some time in the regular EV6? I want to.
I would love to, play, like I wish we had this in San Diego, because I would like to hop back and forth between the GT Performance Edition and this, because it would be neat to get the back-to-back comparison. I do want to note that the efficiency of this is fairly similar to the GT Performance Edition. A lot of the range difference, because the Mach-E GT Performance Edition gets 260 miles of range, this gets 206. A lot of that difference is down to the Mach-E has a 91 kilowatt hour usable battery, and this is 77.4. This has more horsepower, higher top end speed. If you're interested in like top end speed, Mach-E has a like sort of weird 5-second limit on max power. This does this loses power down in the battery pack quite a bit, which I haven't experienced, but I've read about. So don't, do your research if that's a concern to you. So there, every EV has some compromises.
Well, we took this opportunity to open the roof and bring in some sunshine as we say goodbye to you guys. We've spent 5 days? 4 days. How many days?
Friday, Saturday. Today is Monday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So this is our 4th day.
Yeah.
I can't count either.
We spent 4 days in this car. We have it for another day tomorrow. But it's been really great.
It's supposed to snow tomorrow,
which is not great because this has summer tires.
Yeah.
So, and obviously, big thing to consider with range is, of course, if you're somewhere where it's particularly cold or where it snows. Obviously, though, 200 miles of range is you can afford to lose a lot depending on what your daily commute is. So this is all really situational. And yeah, for our situation, I don't know if I would pick this now. It could have been a different story in the past, but I think we've had a great time in this vehicle. I'm looking forward to spending some time in the Kia EV6 normal.
I'm going to miss this car. So that's
That's
you
a
know,
great. That's a great sign.
Yeah, good statement on the cars. Like, I want to miss this car. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you guys for sticking it out with us and watching this video, and hopefully having some fun, maybe learning some things as we learned some of the interesting things about this car.
Live and in person.
Yeah, learning along with this. I'm sure you guys were shouting, no, that's not how it works.
Wrong.
But anyways.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I did just want to add, like, every time that you've been whipping it around these past few days, the car feels like it can handle itself. So I will miss it too. Like, at no point does it feel incapable, unbalanced, and it feels well suited to all of this. So anyways, thank you for joining us for this video in which we spent some time in the Kia EV6 GT. Let us know what you thought of this vehicle down below, what you think about other vehicles, life in general, whatever. Big thank you to our patrons whose names are scrolling across the screen, and their support helps us get things like these new phone cases that hopefully made this...
And phone mount.
Made this good? Good? I don't know. Let us know. And anyways, just remember that whatever you drive, whether it's an EV6 GT or a pony or...
A regular EV6.
A regular EV6, whatever. Enjoy the ride. Bye.
Bye.